Hello, everybody. Welcome, Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel. Trying to hit 30K subs, so it would be much appreciated. Bradley Beal has just been bought out by the Phoenix Suns, and every single sign points to him joining the Los Angeles Clippers. So just want to go over what that will actually look like. There is also a rumor that they are interested in signing Chris Paul as well. Maybe that will come paired with that. I will also probably do a Clippers video at some point in the next few weeks when this roster is really solidified. But I do think what they've done here is interesting because, of course, the Clippers traded Norman Powell in order to get John Collins. There were contractual reasons for doing that, but it was also because they believed that Bradley Beal was about to be available. So you trade Norman Powell for another guy who can score the ball pretty well and John Collins, but at a different position, knowing full well you're about to get a shooting guard on a similar-ish capability level of Norman Powell in Bradley Beal. And I talked about this whenever I did my video about him probably being bought out. We have officially got here. That was that when you consider what he would be doing at the price point he's doing it at, it's a very different thing than when we're talking about a guy making $50 million. So like Bradley Beal last year with the Suns and the year before it as well, averaged like 16 to 18 points per game, shot the three exceptionally well, pretty efficient with his playmaking, good from the field pretty much in every spot, like an efficient 18 points per game and specifically a higher volume and especially higher percentage 3-point shooting season out of him, volume relative, because obviously he was taking everything at a higher volume when he was a Washington Wizard. For $50 million a year, that is disgusting. I don't care how efficient you were. I'm paying you $50 million and your main thing is scoring. You better be getting me 20. But he was also in a position on the Phoenix Suns where he was not going to get enough opportunity, more likely than not anyways. Like, I do think that Bradley Beal was kind of set up to fail in this Phoenix Suns situation. I don't blame him for using his no trade clause to get his leverage how he wants it. And now he gets to get paid out all the money that he signed with the Wizards and play for a team that will be significantly more competitive than the Phoenix Suns. So, hey, the dude won. He got the win at the end. They'll probably be significantly better. There is a chance, and I don't know, like Kawhi and Harden get hurt and they just end up tanking. But presuming injuries are allowed, I feel very confident the Clippers next year will be better than the Suns, and I see no reason why Bradley Beal cannot step into the void that Norman Powell left and more or less do the same stuff. Now, of course, I don't expect him to do it at the volume in which he did it last year, because last year, dude was averaging like 24 points per game, if not for the entirety of the year for most of it. I don't expect Bradley Beal to do that. However, I do think he could average 20 in that system pretty well because he has James Harden setting him up, and most of Norman Powell's stuff was off-ball action. Bradley Beal has more ability off of the bounce. He has more ability as a playmaker as well, so there's a greater diversity in sets that you can run for him, but you could also just give him all of the exact same sets that you have Norman Powell, just plug and play him in the same exact plays, and I think it'll still work out. So I think Bradley Beal should probably fit in quite well in Los Angeles. I think you still have the same exact mold of the roster. You'll probably just get more ball handling out of Bradley Beal than you ever did Norman Powell. And that'll also be nice because there really wasn't great options in terms of a ball handler whenever James Harden was not on the floor. I'm trying to even remember if there was some backup point guard on the team, but I think they just played James Harden constantly. More or less, that was their solution to not having really any backup guard play of significance. I feel like I'm blanking on somebody obvious right now, so I think I might go and check just to be sure, but I don't think they had a backup point guard in their playoff rotation. Oh, yeah, Chris Dunn and Bogdanovich were technically there. Bogdanovich was terrible. Chris Dunn was not like a real playmaker, and Bogdanovich isn't really much of a playmaker. I think neither is Bradley Beal. I don't know. I feel better about Bradley Beal as a ball handler than Bogdanovich. Say that 3 times fast. Bradley Beal is a ball handler. Bradley Beal is a ball handler. Yeah, it's not that bad. I like the Clippers roster. I think it's good. I think the offense should flow the same way that it did before, more or less, and then you have more ability with a backup ball handler. I think James Harden could feel a little bit more comfortable sitting when he knows that Bradley Beal is in the game to, do the distribution and the on-ball scoring a little bit more. It's not to say that I think he'll be great at it, but I think we vastly oversold how bad Bradley Beal was in Phoenix, because again, you got to think about the price of it all. It is a lot of money for what he's doing, but presumably Beal shouldn't be making more than like 10, 15 tops $1 million for this Clippers team. And that's good contract value. They also have great contract value in Zubac. So like they're kind of killing it in that capacity. I think John Collins, what's interesting to me is John Collins. The John Collins factor in all of this, because I wonder what his fit with Zubac is going to look like, because even though John has shown an ability to be a stretch four, that is, of course, not his best ability. His best ability is generally rolling to the rim, operating more in the mid-range, mid-post area, isolating on mismatches, things of that nature, being a play finisher around the rim, not so much three-point shooting. And I don't believe he had a particularly strong three-point shooting team three-point shooting year with the Jazz, but I also don't think he had a horrible one. Like, he's fine, but not somebody that, he shot 40%. That's pretty good. 3.7 attempts, also a career high, but just 2 seasons before that, 29%, and then 36, and then 40, and then 40. Like, he's not the most consistent three-point shooter, but he had a great year with the Jazz. And if that three ball can be real, even at the volume that it is, it doesn't even have to go up that much, then we're talking about a team that would essentially be able to play 5 guys who average 15 or more in that starting lineup. And actually, what exactly did Zubac average? Zubats, rather, excuse me, because he would, 16.8 points, almost 17. John Collins, 19 last year. I think Bradley Beal, either 18 or 16 this year, 17 this year. So, including Kawhi and James Harden, you have 5 16-plus point per game scorers in that starting lineup. A lot of versatility, a lot of different methods of attack, because James Harden does his off-the-dribble creation for himself and his teammates. Bradley Beal, I imagine, will do a lot of his work in off-the-ball sets as a shooter. Kawhi Leonard is Kawhi Leonard, and he does a mix of both of those, and he attacks in his own way. Zubac is a very traditional big man. And then John Collins is a traditional power forward, but also he can shoot a little bit. So I don't know. The Clippers are just really interesting. I'm fascinated by this team. I'm glad to see it happen, because I'd much rather this than Bradley Beal just continue to waste his time here. And when you think about it, this is going to be the most meaningful basketball that Bradley Beal has played in his career since, like, when they were in the second round, when he was the second option to John Wall. So like literally since like 2018 is the last time that would have possibly happened, 2017 or so. It's been quite a while. Bradley Beal has been on a bad Wizards team, and then he went on this Suns team that was immediately a disaster, spent 2 years in that disaster. So he has been essentially, other than the early couple of seasons in his career, only in bad losing situations. Like, he had 1 year with Russ that allowed them to get to the playoffs. And then, like, I think he made it once or twice as well in that Wizards era, but like with a 40-win record in the 8th seed. So, like, just nothing but meaningless basketball has been played by Bradley Beal. And the Clippers last year took the Denver Nuggets to 7 games, the same Denver Nuggets team that took the Thunder to 7 games. So I think the Clippers could very much be a contender, and Bradley Beal can actually play meaningful, important, winning at the highest level basketball in some capacity. I'm not expecting him to perform like an all-star or anything like that, but for a $10 million contract, you'll take a guy scoring 15 on good efficiency. I think it could be even higher than that. It probably more or less depends on how available Kawhi Leonard ends up being, but I think he's a great addition. Everyone hates on Bradley Beal, I get that, but like, we got to talk about this from the basketball perspective. From the basketball perspective, I think this is great for the Clippers. So yeah, That's it. Thank you for watching. Shout out to Rudy for editing this one, and goodbye. Rudy just said behind the camera that the spectrum between my reaction to the Bradley Beal trade to Phoenix versus this is just a giant canyon difference. Yeah, the money is everything. How much you are being paid determines the value of your trade and you as a player so significantly. But yeah, that's it. We're done.